Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Saturday, the 15th of March 2025. In today's Meal news, it was match day. Incredible scenes. We won, but we left it very late indeed. And we got a penalty, bizarrely. Apparently, someone said it was the first penalty we've had at home since October 2021. So I'm not sure if that's that we've scored or that we've had, but man, that is a long old time. This is the match report from millfc.co.uk, the club's official website. Ivanovic on the mark as Mill win in stoppage time. Mihailo Ivanovic's penalty kick in second half stoppage time saw Mill defeat Stoke City 1-0 at the Den in the Sky Bet Championship on Saturday afternoon. The Serbian stepped up to send Victor Johansson the wrong way in the 94th minute after Josh Coburn was fouled. Alex Neil made 5 changes to his lineup for the visit of the Potters, with Billy Mitchell, Coburn, Adomio Maku, Rahis Bangor-Williams and Tristan Crammer coming into 11 at the expense of George Saville, Luke Cundle, Wes Harding, George Honeyman and Femi Aziz. The former trio on the bench, whilst the later duo missed out through injury. There were places among the substitutes meanwhile for the youngsters AJ Matthews and Sheldon Kendall. The sun shone in SC16 as the game got underway, and with the Lions attempting to make the most of their two-man strike force. Yeah, it was 2 up front, but the first opportunity went the way of the visitors. Lewis Kumas struck a bouncing ball on the edge of the area. That was blocked, however, by Japhet Tanganga. Mill's first foray into the Stoke penalty area, meanwhile, took place on 13 minutes as Maku jinked past one before seeing a strike blocked behind. Joe Bryan's corner was then clipped to the front post but punched away by Victor Johansson, with Amaku taking advantage of Casper Denor winning back possession at the midway point of the half, only to find his effort blocked. Crammer had to do his defensive duties seconds later as the Potters raced upfield in a 4-on-4 situation, with Bangor-Williams doing the same from a set-piece moments later. Jake Cooper glanced at Maku's cross wide as the Lions began to creep into the game with just over 10 minutes to play of the first half, and Bryan curled a right-footed effort into the arms of Johansson as more chances came. Imaka's delicious yum ball across the face of goal almost gave the Lions an opener early in the second half, but the slide of Coburn was not enough as Ivanovic's poke at the back post was deflected behind. Crammer's cross was nodded behind by Coburn on 53 minutes, whilst Bryan had to make an important challenge at the other end to prevent Stoke from bearing down on Lucas Jensen's goal. On the hour mark, the Potters came closest to taking the lead as Bao Junho broke free and cracked an effort off Jensen's crossbar and away from danger, with an even bigger moment happening a minute later as Voterberger looked set to score, only for a fantastic save from Jensen to keep his sheet clean. Saved it with his foot. His outstretched foot. Bang. Fantastic reaction save there. Dunor sent a volley into the grasp of Johansson as both sides continued to probe for the opening goal. Tanganga's bullet header looked to be heading in on 72 minutes but was stopped by a Stoke head inside the 6-yard box before Aaron Connolly and Harding were brought on as head coach Neil looked for ways of finding the winner with 15 minutes remaining. With 4 minutes to play, Mill kept the ball moving forward and Bryan crossed for Ivanovic, but he headed over before the vital moment came in stoppage time as Ivanovic stepped up to win the game for Mill following a foul on Coburn inside the box. And there it is there. Bosh. The match stats are hidden, but we can reveal them. Imaku and Connolly got booked. The crowd was 16,799. With 1,300 away fans, and they put a load of local children in the away hand. Hopefully, the Millwall fans recognise that they want the Stoke fans. But yeah, that was a weird one. But there you go. The team was as follows: Jensen, Crammer, Tanganga, Cooper, Bryan, Bangor, Williams, Denor, Mitchell, Maku, Ivanovic and Coburn. And the sub bench was Connolly, Wintle, Saville, Cundle, Evans, George Evans, the young goalkeeper, Harding, Kendall, Matthews and Sturge. And the subs that were made was Harding on for Cram in the 73rd minute, Condell on for Bangor Williams in the 89th minute, and Connolly on for Emaku in the 73rd minute. What can you say? Late drama. Wasn't mentioned here. Obviously, this needs to be kind of vanilla. It can't be too contentious. The game looked like it was going to end with nothing happening. It was going to be a 0-0, 93rd minute. So I'm thinking, like, okay, so what's the story from the game? What am I going to talk about? And for me and for many Millwall fans, I believe, the main event of the game would have been when Coburn was through onto Amaku's cross, and he got pulled back. He got yanked back, clearly yanked back by his shirt. Kind of like in the old vaudeville days when they used to stick the hook on the walking stick with a hook, the crook, and they used to yank people off. Like that, where he's standing up, you're trying to move one way, someone yanks you and you're going another way. And that wasn't given as a penalty. And that was pretty disgusting that wasn't given as a penalty. And the one that was given at the end, so they were holding us all the time, they were holding, shirt pulling and stuff, which you're not allowed to shirt pull. Now, the thing that they said is that contact, like, because there was some concern that football was being made into a non-contact sport, and say, well, no. Like, people should be allowed to have some contact. But that didn't include shirt pulling. Like, that's not contact. That's you, like, pulling someone's shirt. That's not a shoulder barge or, leaving a bit on after a tackle. That's not what that is. That's something completely different. But I don't think the memos got around to the referees that are doing our games, because we never get shirt pulls. Jay Cooper at times would have his shirt pulled off his back, and in the penalty area when we were attacking set pieces in previous games, nothing was given. That's not fair contact. It's not. So they were shirt pulling all game, the defenders, and it come unstuck. I don't know what switched in the referee's head. Maybe he saw the highlights at half time and he realised he should have given it. I don't know if they do that kind of thing. Maybe they had a word and said, well, maybe that was a penalty, or maybe someone spoke to him in the tunnel. You missed one there, ref. You're gonna see after the game. You missed that one. They're gonna be on you for that. So maybe that was in his head. Because then when it happened again right at the end, he just gave the penalty, and fair play to him to be able to have the balls to do that. Because he could have just let it go and said, oh no, because that was a match-changing, situation. There's no more time to come back. It was the 93rd minute. You're already given like 4 minutes of injury time. So unless he's as bent as a 9-bob note, and he fixed the game and he was waiting until right at the last minute to do it. But I doubt I don't think that's the case. But yeah. What I will say, for the fact that we had two up front, our attacking play was very poor. So what we seemed to do, we seemed to go down the wings, but then the strikers weren't getting involved. They were both of them, because they're both kind of target men. I don't know if I think this kind of changed in the second half. I don't know if Ivanovic was told to drop back more and link up, because he was getting on the ball. He was kind of doing like little flicks and things to try and get away from people when the ball came up to him, when he was just round about the halfway line. Doing like Cruyff turns and stuff like that. But having two up front, they were just both of them running away from the ball to prepare to get on the end of the crosses. And it's like, well, surely you can't both be doing that. It's like someone needs to come towards the ball and give an option. And then if the ball doesn't go to you, if it does get crossed into the guy at the back, then you immediately spin around and wait for the second ball. You try and get in on that. But thinking about it now, I think in a way, having two up front to some extent did help, especially in the second half, because I believe that like our defence was quite high at times. We were playing quite a high line, and I believe that's because we had two up front, so Stoke their defence had to stay back, and you see that when there's a corner, if the opposition, if the team defending a corner has one up front, then the opposition has to have two back. But if you have two up front, which is unusual, sometimes it happens. If you're kind of chasing a game and you're trying to like gamble, then they'll have to leave maybe three or four back. So there are things that you can do. So I believe, even though it didn't seem it on the surface, I think having two up front did kind of help in kind of probably relieving the defence in a way. Barely mentioned in the match report here, but I think Casper Noor was outstanding today. To be fair, like all of the team was outstanding in their own way. Quite surprised for Crammer. I don't know if I hope he's okay. He kind of looked kind of gassed. I don't know if it's like the sun or what, but I don't think it was that hot today. It was sunny. It wasn't particularly hot. But he did look kind of gassed after a while. So yeah. But fantastic win. Absolutely brilliant. The Serb steps up. So now, what is he on? He's on 6 goals now, so he's clear top scorer. He's above Watmore, who hasn't been seen for a while, so he's not even making it into the matchday squad. So I think it's pretty safe to assume Watmore's probably going to be released at the end of the season. So there you go. Insane. Our second highest scorer, Watmore, is going to be released, but he's scored all of those goals in August and September. Insane, but hey ho. So what are we doing? We're going to look at this. This is the photographs from the game. millfc.co.uk. Lions versus Potters Matchday Gallery. And Amaku. Now apparently, obviously the game was live on Sky, hence the early morning kickoff. Apparently, they kept calling him Emaku. Emaku. As in, like, there's a woman named Emaku. So what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, Emaku. He had a bit of a battle with this guy today. Ended up getting yellow card. But he did well. He didn't retaliate. Even though he was being hacked down and stuff like that. Did very well. Coburn then not so well. Really. Coburn. Van Gore Williams. Ivanovic. Connolly, come on, straight away gets into a bit of argy-bargy. I don't know if that was planned or whether that was just spontaneous, but that certainly fired the crowd up. He did get a booking for it, but you can see look at the shirt pulling. It's going both ways, really. Yeah. I think that's the penalty incident there, actually. But you miss it. So I think with the highlights as well, you miss the actual. I've seen the highlights back, after coming back from the game. You missed they cut out the original bit where he is holding on to him. He's holding on to him before the ball comes in, and then literally, so they like hold and then they let go. They hold and they let go, and then they go, "Oh no, I wasn't holding him." It's like, bro, you were holding him, but then you let go. Because the ref turned and started to look, so the performance, it was a good performance. It wasn't outstanding, but to be fair, kind of worrying to say it. I think it was kind of two evenly matched teams, which is worrying when you think Stoke are fighting relegation. It was funny after the game that. Ivanovic was giving it to one of the defenders that was like harassing him all game. I think it was the guy here in this photo, which is going to come up. Yeah, this guy. So he comes up, at the end of the game, they're trying to shake hands and stuff. And the guy's like pushing him away. He's like, "Oh, what's going on here then?" And then like Ivanovic just laughing his head off, like, "Come on, mate." But hey ho, there you go. What are you going to do? So now moving on to this from the South London Press, londonnewsonline.co.uk. It's the lowdown. The lowdown on Millwall 1, Stoke City 0. Ivanovic spot on in a game lacking quality. Millwall recorded a fourth successive home win over Stoke City as Mihailo Ivanovic's 93rd minute penalty ensured they bounced back from their defeat against Championship promotion hopefuls Leeds United this Saturday lunchtime. Ivanovic converted from 12 yards after his strike partner Josh Coburn was fouled by Stoke's Ben Wilmot. The win sends Millwall back into the top half of the Championship table. Here is the lowdown on the match. We got the lineups, yep. Snapshot of the game. It was a poor game that lacked any real quality. Neither side were able to really get any form of attacking moves together, which sums up how the season has gone for both teams in front of goal. The relegation-threatened visitors were the better of the two sides in the first half and had two very good chances in the second half to break the deadlock. Junho Bay fired an effort against the bar and Lucas Johnson made a superb stop with his boot to deny Wouterberger. Wilmot turned out to be the ultimate villain in the 92nd minute as his foul on Coburn saw Andy Davies point to the spots. Ivanovic stepped up and fired the penalty into the top corner. Bosh! Tactical approach. Alex Neil made 5 changes to the side that lost the lead on Wednesday. Femi Aziz and George Honeyman were injured, so they were enforced changes. The Lions head coach opted to play with 2 up front, Byron Coburn and Ivanovic. It did not give the results that perhaps he had hoped for, as Stoke proved very hard to break down. City having an extra man in midfield made it hard for the likes of Casper Norton and Billy Mitchell to have any real attacking threat, instead spending most of the game containing the City threat. Star man, so according to Alex Grace writing this, Joe Bryan, he was pretty good. Had the best chance in the first half, albeit a tame effort from the edge of the box in the first half. Well, that was on his right foot. He created the most chances in the game and looked comfortable in his defensive duties. Again, I wonder if they're starting to talk to the players now about contracts, because I think we've hit the 50-point mark. We're on 51 now, so I think we're safe, lads. It's time to start talking contracts for next season. The best moment, Ivanovic's late penalty. Spot kicks have been a problem for Millwall this season, so to see one put away with real quality at the death was great for the home fans. Moan of the match, a general lack of quality. Both of these clubs have big issues scoring goals, having scored 36 and 37 goals respectively. So yeah, 2 of the worst attackers in the division. Thankfully for the Lions, they've been very good defensively for the majority of the campaign. Supplying to the box has been one of the real gripes from a Millwall perspective this season. Coming into the game, Millwall had the second worst record in the league at goals from corners, with 3 scored from 179 attempts. For such a big side, that is a very poor return and something that Alex Neil will need to address in the summer. We'll address it now. I think they did try a few things, and Tanganga came really close. He kind of did the thing where you hang around at the back post and then you sprint forward, because they all assume sprint forward as in sprinting not towards the goal, but parallel with the goal, towards the front post, and then kind of whipping your head. He did one of them. Which, is basic. That's basic bread and butter stuff. But, we kind of just, flat-footed. The tall players stand where they stand, and then you're hoping that the guy can kick it towards them. And then, they're flat-footed, so they're jumping up and they're getting knocked and here and there. And, you're just hoping. That's not how you score from corners. Like, you need to run onto the ball and drive it towards the goal. Which is what Tanganga did, and he nearly scored. You need to do things like that. You need to do tricks and flicks and stuff, You can, chip it towards the front post and then someone glances ahead across the line of the goal. But here's the thing. If you have different corner routines, you can do hand signals to tell your players what's coming, so they know what's coming. It's like that film. What's that film? Is it Snatch? where Brad Pitt playing a gypsy, and then someone gets like a shotgun gets blown off, and then they show you Brad Pitt didn't flinch because he knew it was going to happen. All the others, they flinched and shit their pants. So that's what you want to do. You want to set up a thing, let the Millwall players know what's coming, and then the opposition doesn't know what's coming, and then boom, you catch them off guard. But just standing on the spot, flat-footed, kicking it up in the air, and then the guy just jumps dead jump, or whatever they call it. Yeah, that's not the best strategy, I would say. A talking point down the pub: did the 4-4-2 gamble pay off? Mill have always been classed as one of those traditional football clubs, what you would expect to play with two strikers. Thinking back to Neil Harris's first stint in charge, it was 4-4-2 the old way. Alex Neil has got two big strikers to utilise, but it did not seem to pay off too much this afternoon. Between them in the first half, they managed one touch in the box, and that is nowhere near enough and will not threaten defences. It was a tough afternoon for the two strikers, as the service into them was also very limited. It could be something to work on going forwards. If so, it will need fine-tuning. Yeah, like I said, it didn't... The way I already mentioned, like the way they were playing, like it was up... They were trying to run down the wings with Ramaku and Kramer, and then cross the ball in. But then they were both running in to get on the end of crosses, and like when the guy couldn't get the cross on, it's like, oh, the attack fizzled out. But not only that, but like I said, I think having two up front did kind of hold Stoke back a bit. Like they were trying. I think their attacks did come from counters, because we were playing a high line, and they had to kind of sit back to deal with the two up front. So yeah. What the boss had to say. Oh, we're pleased with the win, In the second half we were dominant. We got into some good areas. I didn't have as many clear-cut chances as we would have liked, but based on the second half performance, if anyone deserved to win it, it was us. Yeah, probably. So let's get on to some more post-match comments from Alex Neil. This from the southernnews.co.uk. Alex Neil labels Stoke City result an excellent win. Explains why Mill had teething problems in the first half. That's becoming a bit of a pattern, isn't it? It is becoming a bit of a pattern. Alex Neil labelled Mill's 1-0 win against Stoke City an excellent win and explained his side looked a lot better in the second half than in the first half. The Lions struggled for large stretches of the first half, with the Potters having the better of their chances and slightly more possession, and were still adjusting to playing with two strikers. Josh Coburn and Mihajlo Ivanovic up front. Neil tweaked the press during the break and thought his side played much better in the second half, eventually snatching all 3 points after Josh Coburn was pulled down in the box in the 92nd minute and Mihajlo Ivanovic emphatically dispatched the resulting penalty. Mill had another penalty shout earlier in the half when Coburn looked to have been held back while stretching to get on the end of a Maku crossed into the box. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really see the first one, Neil said. The analysts for us saw it and they were shouting there was a penalty. The first half was frustrating, but it was frustrating for a couple of reasons. I think one of them was, the fact that when you play two up front rather than playing with a 10 and a 9, it's different. I thought there were a bit of teething problems in there for us because, we had 1 day prep because we didn't get back from Leeds until whatever time in the morning. So, basically we had a Friday session where we walked through things and there's not a lot of training involved in sort of preparing that. Second half, I thought our line was more aggressive, which allowed our midfield to play higher and closer to the stakers. We didn't recycle the ball better or more within touching distance. Our press, which we fixed at half time, was better in the second half than it was in the first. Yeah, so what I'm saying, second half, where he says our line, I think he means our defensive line. So they were playing higher up the pitch, which meant the midfield could play higher up the pitch as well. So yeah, that was something that I saw. But to be honest, it was a structure issue. It was more an aggression issue in terms of actually getting up there and getting after it. I think when we adjusted that, it allowed us structurally to dominate the second half. And I think at times, they were just literally just kicking the ball away and they were facing. It was really a case of could we create a moment? Could we put a quality cross in? Could we beat somebody? Could we get a strike away and try and fashion that chance that's going to give us that opportunity to score? We probably should have had a penalty in the first one, when he gets pulled back and then we get late on, and now whether that's a penalty or not, like you say, we've all been victims of maybe the decisions across the season, but I thought it was no more than we deserved for our second half performance. Despite being the better side for much of the second half, the Potters had 2 golden opportunities to open the score, in the first coming when Bae Jun Ho hit the crossbar, and the second when Wouterberger forced a sprawling save from Lucas Jensen. Oh, it was fortunate, wasn't it? The first one, Tristan jumps out and he shouldn't. The lad gets down the side and he hits the bar. It's a good strike from him. It's a bit of quality, so I'll give him that. The other one's a little bit more fortunate. I think it's a deflection that sort of lands in his path. So from that perspective, it's hard to defend that. And I think defensively, apart from probably that decision from Tristan to jump out, I thought we were pretty solid today. They're key moments, aren't they? They define the game. If one of them goes in, the game's different. And at this level, a lot of games are defined by key moments, aren't they? Whether you take that chance or whether it's a penalty or whether they can execute that pass, get that strike away. It was really pleasing one, and you're playing against a team that's fighting for their life at this stage of the season. They got a really good win during the week and they got a really strong squad. Half of that squad I put together. So there's some really good players in there, but I thought that was an excellent win for us. Very Trumpian quotes from Alex Neil there. Oh, they've got a really good squad. I fucking built half of it, didn't I? Do you remember? I used to be their manager not that long ago. Do you remember that? And when I was there, we weren't struggling for fucking relegation, were we? Love it. Absolutely love it. It's very subtle, but I mean, it's... If you know, you know. Now, moving on to this... again from the southernnews.co.uk, Millwall Boss and why started 2 up front against Stoke City and why their home form has not matched their away form. Alex Neil said he opted to start 2 up front against Stoke City at the Den today due to his side's indifferent form at home during his tenure. The Scotsman started Josh Coburn and Mihajlo Ivanovic together for the first time this season, and it paid dividends as Coburn won a 92nd minute penalty that Ivanovic converted, meaning Millwall left the Den with a 1-0 win and all 3 points. Whee! Prior to today's game, the Lions had only won 1 out of their 6 league home games under Neil, a record he was keen to improve. That was one of the reasons I put 2 forwards in, because I just felt at home we're playing too short and too neat, so we look good, but we're not getting what we need out of the game, which is a win and the points, Neil said. Today I put the 2 forwards in, forcing us a little bit to go a bit more direct in the game, and I didn't think it worked particularly well in the first half because we didn't do well enough, but I thought second half, I thought we were excellent at it. At home, it was important for me today because we were playing Stoke, and it was important because I feel as if we need find a bit of balance at home in terms of forcing the games and winning the games and being competitive. The fact is, most of our fans see us at home, so although the away fans travel far distances, you want to try and keep everybody happy, and you don't want the home fans coming thinking, oh, we don't win here. So that was really important for me, especially now the season tickets are on sale for next season and the prices have gone up. We need some home wins, Neil. We need some home wins, Mr. Neil. We've got to sell those microwave ovens. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. You score your penalties on your Millwall TV. Ivanovic has now scored 7 goals in all competitions since joining the Lions from Serbian side Vojvodina last summer. Oh, he's had a great season, Neil said. Since I've come in, he's played a hell of a lot of minutes, between him and Josh Coburn. Both of them have been contributed a hell of a lot in terms of their goals, their link-up play, and they're getting better and better as individuals. I think what it showed us today is we've now got enough of sort of string to our bow where we can put 2 big lads up top and we can play not even more direct. I didn't even think we were all that direct within the game. But what we can do is, we can work it and we've got an extra option in the box, particularly when they're 6 foot plus. So from that perspective, it was really pleasing. Indeed. Well, it was when we won the game. If it was 0-0, wouldn't have been probably not about 25% as pleasing. Now. Oh, one thing as well I will mention, obviously, because the game's not going too well, it did improve in the second half, but you're thinking, hang on, okay, 60 minutes comes, where are the substitutions? what's happening here? And you obviously, if you play the two up front, who's coming off the bench? Obviously, you put the young AJ Matthews on as the striker in case they needed one for injury. But I mean, so what are your options if you're trying to be more attacking when you got your two strikers on the pitch? Well, you bring Aaron Connolly on, so I guess that kind of worked out. Now, moving on to this, again from Southern News. They're off on one today. Our players have got some balls. Alex Neil praised his side's mentality after Millwall scored another injury time winner. And you can see the players there. They're very happy about that, aren't they? They were all very happy about that. Alex Neil praised his side's mentality after they scored an injury time winner to beat Stoke City 1-0 at the Den today, and said his players have got some balls. Mill struggled to fashion clear-cut chances for most of the game, but got the late penalty, etc., etc., etc. The Lions made a habit of snatching all 3 points late on recently, with Coburn scoring an injury time tapping to go 1-up against Derby and an 81st minute equaliser to complete the comeback from 1 goal down against Watford last week. Neil attributed their ability to score late goals to their mentality. I don't want it to sound crude, but when I'm saying this, but our players have got some balls. Neil said, they'll compete, they'll fight, they'll scrap, and they'll put themselves out there. And I think that's important internally for us, although sometimes that's maybe external criticism about how we're doing or we don't win a game or whatever. Internally, we're very balanced with them. We're very balanced in the fact that we want you to put yourself out there. Don't be scared of failure because you won't get criticised, within the changing room at any point. This group's got a natural desire, they've got a natural resilience, and they've got a natural grittiness to them. And all I'm trying to do is to just try and accent that as much as I possibly can, make them aware of my expectations. But, more importantly, their expectations that they should have as a group for themselves. And I think because we've got a lot of younger players now starting to come through, I think you can certainly influence that. When asked if their ability to score late winners was partially down to improved fitness, Neil said, I don't think it's just a fitness thing, but I think it's a mentality thing. I think you can be as fit as a fiddle, but, if you don't believe you're going to score, you're not. We compressed the ball really well, the first half. I didn't think we really went after it and pressed it with any sort of real desire to get it back. Where the second half, I thought it was the complete opposite. And I would say, it's more of a mentality thing than anything else in terms of we're not accepting and we're not satisfied with a point. We want to win the game. Instead of reason, why Aaron came on and then the reason why Luke came on. The subs are attacking subs, although, Wes is a fullback. What Wes will do, he gives me fresh energy. And he'll get up and he's got a good quality delivery on him. So all the small bits help. Yes, and who had the long throw in that was thrown into the penalty area that led to the penalty? It was Wes. League One Wes. Exactly. And again, here we go. Again from the Southern News. 4 in a row. Millwall head coach discusses why Mihajlo Ivanovic took the decisive penalty against Stoke City. I believe he's the designated penalty taker, which because Coburn took the penalty last time and he missed it. And then everyone's saying, well, why did he take it? And don't we have a penalty taker? And apparently it's because the penalty taker is Ivanovic. And then if he's not on the pitch, it's, whoever wins it. Which is why Connolly took one as well at that time. So Alex Neil confirmed that Mihajlo Ivanovic volunteered to take the decisive penalty against Stoke City earlier today, which the striker promptly dispatched to give the Lions a 1-0 lead in the 92nd minute and meant they left the Den with all 3 points. Yada yada. Ivanovic stepped up to take the spot kick and smashed it into the corner, with the Lions finally scoring a penalty after missing their last 2, both of which were taken by the player who won the penalty, Coburn against Derby County and Connolly against Luton Town. I'm quite relaxed with that, because I think when you force a penalty upon someone, I don't think that's a good situation. I think a lot of the time when guys get penalties, they normally want to take it. The 2 strikers had a chat, Mihajlo volunteered himself to go and take it, and I'm more than happy with that, if he misses it, people miss penalties. It's one of those ones where, I always want people to have a go. Don't be scared of missing, don't be scared of failing, and don't be scared of not doing it properly. You're only going to get better if you keep persisting and keep trying. So the effort for me and the willingness to put yourself out there is really important. And that goes on to what we mentioned previously, mentality. If you have the mentality that I'm going to step up in the 94th minute to take a penalty that could win, will win the game, and if I miss it, it's like I'm going to get shit on. Although that's another thing, if Coburn would have took it and he would have missed it, he's already not really a fan's favourite, so you think like the Serbian could probably get away with it because the fans love him a little bit. So there's that as well, Now we got this, but I think we've already discussed it with the Southern News. Okay. So we've got, it seems to be the same but slightly different. So speaking to Mill TV, Neil explained the reasons behind the tactical change of playing two strikers up front. He said, I'm a bit conscious that we don't want to play too short at home. We want to mix the game up. Playing short when it's on, but not being able to turn it at Cali or flat. The two big lads, they've done really well recently individually in the games that they've played, and I wanted to see if we could carry a flat as a two, have a bit more width with Edumo and Allen coming on. It gives us something to go to if we need it, and it's certainly something we can use if we feel it's more appropriate. Neil also praised Lucas Jensen, who made one crucial intervention to deny Stoke's burger in the 62nd minute when the Dutchman was one-on-one with the Lions keeper, a moment that turned out to be key as the Lions secured all 3 points late on. It was a bit lucky for them. It's a ricochet that lands in the path, but Lucas is really quick down the lane. He gets to the ball, he blocks it, and there are fine moments in football. If that goes in, it changes the dynamics of the game, but he keeps it out, and that allows us to go on and win it. Mill's options are depleted at present, particularly in attack, with Neil having to name youngsters, Sheldon Kendall and AJ Matthews on the bench. So Sheldon Kendall, a winger, I think he can play either side, and AJ Matthews on the bench, he's a striker. We're really late, with 8 forward players out, albeit some might be younger ones. But as you saw today, we had Sheldon on the bench, we had Matthews on the bench, who's 18. So, we're late in certain areas, but what it does is it gives some of the young lads a chance. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them on the pitch today as we were chasing that winner. Yeah. If we were winning, but here's the thing, if we're winning, but winning by how much? You got to be winning by 2 goals, surely, before you put any youngsters on. But again, that's what I was mentioning the other day. We're probably not going to make the playoffs. Obviously, you have to try. You have to try and win games, and you have to try and do as well as you can. But why not just throw the player on there? Why not? So I wanted to show you this. This is the kind of match report and other stuff from the game, the page from the game on bbc.co.uk/sport/football. Got the report here. Shaky. Hello. So half of that's good I put together. Yeah, lovely stuff. I love it. So I wanted to read you this because this is gold. This is gold, Jerry. It's gold. Stoke boss Mark Robbins told BBC Radio Stoke, so obviously he's doing an interview with a local radio, and he's thinking, I'm speaking to my local people, I'm a local man talking to local people, this, I'm sure this won't get out on the internet. Of course not. We live in the age of World Wide Web. Why would this get out on the internet? Well, here we go. Let's have a read of this. What the Stoke boss Mark Robbins told BBC Radio Stoke. It was a game shot on quality all the way through, apart from when we got on the ball. First half, we played some reasonable football. They're spoilers, they set their stall out to do what they did. But we can't become embroiled in that, which happened in the second half. We ended up stopping playing our game, making mistakes, although we created some brilliant openings for Berger, and then Juno hit the bar, and in other times, we picked the wrong option. What the referee's seen for the penalty, I have no clue. Their player put his arm inside Ben Wilmot's arm, then rolled, and I don't know what Ben's supposed to do, because he can't get away from him, so then they go down, and he's brought the penalty. It's absolutely ridiculous. they played apparently some reasonable football. Maybe I missed that. We're spoilers. Yeah, I think that's called defending. Like when players come forward, you kind of defend. That's what you're supposed to do, I believe, as in tackling, blocking, closing down, that kind of stuff. Especially when it's like close to your goal. That's called defending. Yeah, and then his assessment of the penalty is just absolutely ridiculous. So, but hey ho, he's in a relegation fight, and it's funny because he was one of the first names down because he was at Coventry, and they let him go for whatever reason, which is at the time was weird because he seemed to be doing quite well. And now you look at what's happened since he's gone. I imagine he's a very bitter man. Frank Lampard's Coventry are now firmly in the playoffs. They've won so many games, so many games. Now he's gone to Stoke, which is probably not that far from Coventry. He's took the local option, instead of like choosing a job that's probably on the up and up, he's just gone for the local option, and he's now in a relegation fight. Quite literally, as we will see when we look at the table. So I imagine he's a very, very bitter man. Very bitter. So here are the rest of the results from this weekend. There was a game yesterday. Did I mention this already? Bristol City 2, Norwich 1. So some of these are good for us, and some of them not so good. That one, Norwich, obviously, that would have been better as a draw, but Norwich dropped points, but Bristol City got 3 points. Now, one of the best team in the world. They drew away at QPR. QPR 2, Leeds 2. And they were 2-0 down. And, couldn't beat QPR. Plymouth 2, Derby 3. Preston 2, Portsmouth 1. Gary Rowett's Oxford 1, Watford 0. Thank you, Gary. West Brom 1, no surprise, Hull 1. Another draw for West Brom. Coventry 3, Sunderland 0. Wow, what a result. What a result for Coventry under their new manager, Frank Lampard, now that they got rid of the bitter old man, Mark Robins. Luton 0, Middlesbrough 0. Blackburn 1, Cardiff 2. Swansea 0, Burnley 2. And there's a game tomorrow, the Sheffield Derby. Obviously, Sheffield United hoping to win and go, they won't go top of the table, they go up to second. But there you go. So let's have a look at the table. Where are we at now? We were on 51 points. We've gone up to 11th. Lovely stuff. We're only 6 points of the playoffs, but it's not happening. Stop. It's not happening. Because we've got 8 games left. We'll probably need to win all 8. And if you look, there ain't a lot of teams that can string wins together. In fact, so the right-hand side is the most recent. So the only team in the whole league that have won 3 games in a row at the moment is Derby. So that's put Stoke in the doo-doo, which is why old man Robbins is so upset. They're now only a point off the relegation places. And in fact, we're on 51 points. Technically, we could still get relegated, but realistically, that's not going to happen. There's 8 games left to play for. That's 24 points. So Derby can get to, 62. But, realistically, even if they were to do that, there's a hell of a lot of teams below us that ain't going to win every game either, and it's impossible for them all to win every game because some of them will be playing each other. So I think traditionally the target had been to stay up is 50 points. We're on 51 now. I think the most that someone's ever got and been relegated is 52. So we're going to be here next season 100%. Got another season. We might be playing Charlton. We'll be playing Southampton, Ipswich probably as well. So, should be fun. So, one thing to note as well, Coventry beat Sunderland 3-0 to close the gap, but it's still 10-point gap. It's still a 10-point gap. It's insane because no one can string any wins together. And I was looking before, if we go down, the top scorer in the league's only got 17 goals. Obviously, we're not at the end of the season yet, but I mean, that's pitiful. Like, previous seasons, was it Armstrong and others? They had like 24 goals, 30 goals. Timu Puku, 30 goals in this division. Now we've got a top scorer with like a month to go of 17. Yeah, this division is a bit fucking dog shit this season, I should say. So there you go. What else are we looking at? So obviously we're on international break now. Next up we play Sunderland away. Again, tough old game, but again, another team that Alex Neil's managed. So that should be fun stuff there. Obviously, as we go down, we still remain, having won that game 1-0. We're now up to 37 goals scored in 38 games, and we're the second worst joint. Stoke with 37. So we scored and we caught up to them, but only Luton are worse than us. So again, trying to play two up front, and the way we played it didn't really work in terms of opening the faucet of scoring goals. So what will? I don't know, but there you go. What can you say? There we go. And if you see, so we did get lucky today in terms of scoring that late penalty, but in terms of the other games as well, Watford lost, Blackburn lost, Middlesbrough drew, Bristol City did win, but West Brom drew. So there you go. Fantastic results today. But then, we go to the next round of fixtures. If we just look at them before we go, obviously it's a long old way till that happens. Obviously we've got international break. Hopefully the players go away in international break, don't get injured, and the players that we do have injured, have got some time to recover. So Sheffield United versus Coventry, obviously a big game for Coventry. Hopefully they lose that. Watford versus Plymouth, that's a game we need to look at. Middlesbrough versus Oxford, again hoping Gary Rat's Oxford can get a result for us. What else have we got? Norwich West Brom, so hopefully another draw there, that would be nice. Burnley Bristol City, so if Burnley can beat Bristol City, that would be lovely. And then Portsmouth versus Blackburn, so if Portsmouth can win at home, then this is a tough place to go, is Fratton Park. That would be fantastic as well. Oh yeah, you know what? While we're here, let me show you something. I was looking at this today. So we did this last season with Neil Harris when he came in at the end of the season, thinking look at all the points that Neil Harris has got since he's been here. This is fantastic. Well, I was doing that with old Alex Neil as well, because how do you do this? You just do that, and why did it not do it? I was doing it earlier. Do that, and then do that, and then we do the no, I don't know. Okay. Oh, I got to click on a freaking date. Okay. It was there. So his first game was literally the first game, the first day of the year. Oxford at home on New Year's Day. This is where we are in the table for games under Alex Neil. Obviously, we know the away form has improved massively, and we can look at that by going here. That is insane. We'd only won one away game all season before Alex Neil turned up. Only one. Now we've won altogether, or under him. This is just under him, so this is 4. So this is just since he's been here. Obviously, we have played extra because we're on 8. But we're third in the table, in the away table, since so just for this year, just for 2025, since Alex Neil started here. man, like, wow. But again, 9 goals scored. But if you go for the home table, under Alex Neil, 2 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats. So we've lost more at home than we've won. Only scoring 6 goals, conceding 8. So again, very weird. It's like the anti Neil Harris. Harris will get the results at home, and we would be absolutely awful away. And now it's turned upside down. If we go back to the overall table, so under Alex Neil altogether, we're the 8th best team in the division this year, 2025. Won 6, drawn 4, lost 5, scored 15, conceded 19. So that's under Alex Neil. So again, like we were saying last time, if we get a full season, what's that going to do? If we get a full pre-season, we get a full season, how are we going to look then? Don't know, but it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because we've had so many injuries that it's been utterly ridiculous, and that can't keep happening. But I mean, maybe we have to rely on the young players. We have to give them a chance when players get injured. You have to throw them in there and give them a chance. But I don't know. But yeah, so like I said, we're on the international break now. So I imagine for the next 2 weeks basically. The videos might be very shorter. We'll be talking about the players that go off in the international duty and playing, and there might be some look at stats behind player of the season, and that kind of thing. Obviously, Tanganga seemed to be a shoe-in. Last couple of games, he's kind of gone off the ball a bit, but I don't think that's going to sour. Really, it might make it a more of a conversation. I've heard people talking about Casper De Norre. But wait, I think probably Ivanovic is almost nailed on Young Player of the Year. Is Young Player of the Year under 21, yeah? Obviously, the lad's 20, so there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.